Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 3 Vegas spread picks. Let's get this money. Last week on Patreon, we had ourselves a day. Even hit a Jets live bet. I don't care what you say, still betting the Jets. Let's get to the first game. We got the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Jets minus 6.5. I'm going with the Jets to win in the cover. I think this is a live bet situation like I said about Atlanta last night. But I like the Jets to win, man, and I believe in this team. There wasn't a lot of science against Tennessee. I was absolutely stressed out, and we saw that Jets defense struggle against the run again, but they made adjustments. The reason why this is not a money pick, I am extremely concerned about Jermaine Johnson's ACL injury. Mosley's going to be out, but I think Salah can scrap that linebacker position. But I don't know if they have another defensive end. Where is Hassan Riddick? On the other side, you look at the Patriots, and credit to Gerard Mayo. He's doing better than I thought. But the more I look at these games, the more I'm looking at the board trying to win you money. I'm just leaning back to my training camp power rankings, the training camp betting power rankings. And I got to fade the Patriots. I'm getting against them. Early season is volatile. And we saw Rodgers get into rhythm during that Tennessee game. It wasn't pretty. They barely threw the ball the first 3 possessions. But then we saw a Rodgers masterclass, a Breece Hall masterclass. Give me the Jets to win in the cover. Next game, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Fields, Steelers -2. Money, money, money. Money. I told you last week, if Fields starts, I love them against the Broncos. I told you last week, Fields played better than the stat line showed against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going Steelers to win in the cover, and I love this one. If this was week 8, if this was week 11, I would make this a college fun bet, but approach with caution. But I'm going to be bold on this. I'm not going to get on here and lie and say responsible gambling, because I do that. I try to preach, but everyone wants to put in 13-team parlays, then blame your boy when it goes wrong. And I'm looking at a Chargers team. They're underperforming on every single metric on offense. Michael Mann, he had to call me in a rage during halftime, and he said that, the Panthers defense forced 3 turnovers in the first half, and all were called back by penalties. I watched the tape on Monday. Michael Mann was right. He wasn't being a fan guy. And believe it or not, I know everyone likes to hate on Fields. I know he's an easy target, but this channel has always believed in him, and he's made us more money than he lost us. And I love this Steelers team when you put Justin Fields in there. He's finding rhythm and he's finding confidence. And I didn't even mention the Steelers defense. I didn't, and I shouldn't have to mention it at this point. Give me the Steelers to win in the cover. Make it a damn money pick. Approach with caution, but I'm going to be bold. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears at the Indianapolis Colts. Bears +1. Bears to win in the cover. Once again, I was right about Caleb Williams. But I did feel like we saw a little bit of progress, and the Colts under 8.5 pick on Patreon is looking better and better by the moment. This is a must win. This is an Alamo game for both teams, but give me the Bears. But the Bears got to come out and start better in the first half of games. They just do not look prepared. This was even dating back 2-3 years ago, and we saw how they started the year last year. But I just don't think this Colts defense is good enough. I think Caleb will have more room to operate against the secondary of the Colts that I think is a bottom 3 in this league. And I told you guys going into the year, yes, Shane Steichen is a genius, but you see these offensive geniuses always take a little bit of a step back going into year two. And when you got Anthony Richardson, you are going into the battle with one hand tied behind your back. I think the Bears have the better defense. This isn't about Caleb. This is about the Bears defense. Give me the Bears to win in the cover. I want to bet it, but respect for Shane Steichen. Next game, we got the Houston Texans. Stroud at my Minnesota Vikings. Texans -2.5. Texans to win in the cover. Vikings last 2 weeks on Patreon were lucrative, and I think we're going to go back to them again. But let's start with the Texans. This is a team that I think is phenomenal. And if you watch the game flow of that Sunday night game, I'm not blaming the refs. I'm not saying the calls were bad. But, the refs just got in the way of the flow of the Texans offense. But I like this Texans defense. Looks like Justin Jefferson will play. But like I told you going into the year, I think Petrie's going to be a star. I think Stingley's going to be a star. And I don't even need to mention Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson at this point. And Sunshine Sam Darnold, he's playing with confidence and he's playing with gusto. And you see what happens when you got a great defensive coordinator in Flores. Everyone tried to bury him. And then you have a great offensive mind in O'Connell. That's why I'm cautious on the Texans, but I think the Texans win in the cover. Great game. I'm looking forward to this game. My blood got racing when I saw this game on the schedule. Texans win in the cover. Not a lot of science out of respect for Sam Darnold. I didn't think I would hear that phrase. Next game, we got the New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns. Browns -6. Browns to win in the cover. And that's why you got to watch the upset video. I needed more time to decompress off that Browns defeat against the Cowboys. But I had the Browns to win in the upset. And I got the Browns to continue rolling. Now, I'm not a Deshaun Watson guy. I don't think he's going to come good. But I told you guys going into this year, I would have started Drew Lock over Daniel Jones. The fact that Daniel Jones is making $40 million a year gives hope to anyone who is struggling in this life. But you want to know what also gives hope? Fading the New York Giants. Give me the Browns to win in the cover. I'm not sure this offensive line is up to snub, and they're holding up better. But you can't really judge an offensive line against the Commanders because the Commanders don't have an edge rusher. Give me the Browns to win in the cover. Kind of like it. Maybe we'll put it on Patreon. Next game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. Eagles +3. Money, money, money. Money. Eagles to win in the cover. Now, there's going to be a lot of overreactions today. Am I worried about Nick Sirianni? Yes, extremely. Am I worried about Kellen Moore's play calling? Yes, I am. It was absolutely horrendous. But we shouldn't overreact because we were one of the few people on the internet in the sports media landscape that even gave the Falcons a chance. And our live betting strategy against the Falcons was brilliant. But with that being said, man, I think this Eagles team bounces back, and I want to give credit to the Saints. I've always been a Carr defender, but it was hard for me to cope last year. Let's be real. Remember that game where he threw the ball 14 times to Kamara, and Kamara only had 40 yards? He was checked down Charlie personified, but we're seeing Carr get a little bit more protection. We're seeing a Kubiak offense better designed and putting the offensive line in good angles to help the situation flow better. And we're seeing Carr connect with Shaheen. But with that being said, I think the Eagles are the grittier team. I think they're better in the front. I think they're better on the offensive line. They're better on the defensive line. And I think you can run the ball against this Saints defense. What happened against the Cowboys? I don't know. But sometimes you have to chalk things up as an outlier, not to get into stats, but outliers exist. I think it was an outlier last week. Do I think the Eagles have vulnerabilities? Yes. Am I worried about their safety position? Am I worried about their corners? Yes, I am. But with that being said, I think they come in almost an Alamo situation. And when you look at that Eagles crowd last night, you kind of want to get on the road, don't you? Eagles to win in the cover, make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Denver Broncos at Tampa Bay Bucs. Broncos +7. I think Bo Nix is going to be a bust. But I think Sean Payton gets at least a little productivity out of him this game. I think this is a good Sean Payton situation. Bucs are looking absolutely brilliant. For me to have the Bucs to cover against the Lions, you know the spread was outrageous. I'm not sure why the Bucs are so undervalued. Like, listen, I thought there was going to be a Baker Mayfield regression there. I'm looking like I'm wrong, although we're 2 weeks in. But this Denver team needs to come in and fight. Like, their life and pride's on the line. No one thought this would be a good team. The over-under win total was low for a reason. But they were absolutely obliterated by a Steelers team while Joe Public thought the Broncos would win. This week, I'm probably against Joe Public. I'm going to go Broncos to cover, Buccaneers to win. Not a lot of science. Next game, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Tennessee Titans. Packers +3. You give me the Packers plus points against Tennessee, against the quarterback and Will Levis, who's an absolute disaster. I'm going Packers. If Jordan Love plays, like, I wish I had more information on this Tuesday afternoon, but I don't. I just don't have the information for you. I do like the way this Titans defense is looking. I feel like Jeffrey Simmons is an elite player, but I also feel like he's not using his head when he's playing, and he's almost turning into a liability. Like, his roughing the passer was so boneheaded, and it changed the landscape of that Jets-Titans game. But I like this Titans secondary. I think they match up well, but if you give me Jordan Love and the Packers plus points, I'm going to go with it. And you guys know I'm not the biggest Packer guy in the world. I'll give an update on the live call-in show Friday. Next game, we got the Carolina Panthers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Panthers +5.5. No, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it. Panthers to cover, Raiders to win. You give me Andy Dalton over Bryce Young, we're in business. You give me Leggett, Thielen, a pretty decent offensive line. I'm taking it, and I'm high on the Raiders defense. I told you that week 1. I felt like they played really good against the Chargers, and we saw what they did against the high-powered offense of the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Raiders win with a late field goal, but I was also encouraged by a lot of the things I saw out of the Carolina Panthers. When you have a quarterback like Bryce Young, I think Michael Mann said, and I watched the game on Monday, there was a point where he was like 8 of 12 for 23 yards. Is that humanly possible in this league? Just by the law of averages to get into the stats, you got to think with Andy Dalton, there's going to be some sort of push. You got to think this team's going to get a little bit more confidence. And it also shows that Canales is in control and maybe Tepper is taking a step back. And last time Andy Dalton played for the Carolina Panthers, they put up a fucking 38 spot at Seattle. They were definitely in the 30s, almost to the 40s. Give me the Panthers to cover, Raiders to win. Not going to make it a money pick, but I'm going to think about it, man. Like, because this Raiders offense is troublesome to say the least. And there is a limit to guys like Gardner Minshew in this league. Like, I know he's a nice guy. Like, I know he makes jokes and he has that anchorman type of humor, but I'm going to fade that. Next game, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Seattle Seahawks. Fins +5. Fins to cover, Hawks to win. Listen, the Dolphins needed that break because we can talk about the Tua situation, but Mike McDaniel broke mentally. And the man has won us so much money. And it's so hard for me to even be critical of him, but he was buck broken against the Buffalo Bills. But I think the Finns cover, Hawks win, and I'm looking for some sort of bounce back performance from the Dolphins. I'm looking for a better game plan. I do like this Seattle defense, but the fact that you let the Patriots I felt like the Patriots should have won that game. I'm going to be honest. I'm going Finns to cover, Hawks to win. Not a lot of science because we just don't know what we're going to get out of Skylar Thompson. I wish they had a better backup quarterback, and then we could work some Flacco magic like we did last year with the Browns. Finns cover, Hawks win. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. Get on Patreon. We make more money than anyone. We're the realest gamblers on YouTube. And I think we're like the only ones who actually do it. Like, I think I'm the only one like not getting in a car this morning and going. Next game, we got the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell at the Arizona Cardinals. Lions +3, -3. Money, money, money. Money. I like the Lions here. I like a bounce back performance. And you guys told me, and I've been right about a lot of stuff on this board, but you guys were right. This Bucs team is dangerous. Like, did I think the Bucs would cover against the Lions? Yes, absolutely I did. But I did not think the Bucs would win the game. But I think the Lions are going to bounce back. I think this defense has just underperformed every single metric that I thought they would hit. And you look at a Cardinals team, and I love Paris Johnson on the offensive line as a young player, but I feel like you can attack them. And I feel when you look at the Rams, they just didn't have the edge rushers to put pressure on Kyler Murray, and no one could touch him. But I do think this Cardinals defense has vulnerabilities, and they're not playing an offensive line with 3-4 starters missing. And we even saw like Jonah Jackson go down in the middle of that game for the Rams. So I think it was fun with the Cardinals. They did their thing, but I like the Lions to win in the cover. I think the Lions rush it for over 150 yards this game. I think they have a huge game, and they have a bounce back type performance, and it was good for us. I told you, like, listen, the Lions, Dan Campbell helped buy me a car. Like, I'm not riding around in a Mercedes-Benz, but I was able to buy a car because of this man's exploits since he came into the league. But with that being said, the market value was just too high on him. Now it's coming down. Now I'm pouncing. I was waiting like a panther in the Amazon. I'm pouncing. Lions to win in the cover. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Dallas Cowboys. Dumb boys. Ravens -1. Ravens winning the cover. There's no science here. Like, listen, man, I know this is the game of the week. I know it's good for views for me to get on it, but there's not much for me to say. You don't know what Cowboys team you're going to see, and we certainly don't know what Ravens team we're going to see. Ravens to win in the cover. This will be the most bet game, but it's the game that should be the most stayed away from. And I know we're going to get 50 comments on YouTube saying, Lawson, like, you're backing out here. I'm not really backing out. I just don't want to bet this game. No one's going to look good betting this game. Ravens winning the cover. Next game, we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. 49ers -7. 49ers to win in the cover. Now, do I like the 49ers when they're laying this many points? I don't. Even though we hit that Vikings bet, I'm not overreacting to the 49ers struggles. Like, no Deebo Samuel is going to be a blow. No McCaffrey is going to be a blow. I just don't know if this Rams offensive line can block this 49ers front. And everyone said that, Lawson, you're hating on the 49ers. They won you so much money. Like, what are you doing, bro? I never said the defense was trash. I just said the defense wasn't what it was 4 or 5 years ago. And when Sunshine Sam Darnold is taking you to the proverbial woodshed it makes sense. Like, people overreacted to the Jets game. Even with that being said, I just don't know if the Rams are going to hold up in pass protection. There's no Nakua. There's no Cooper Kupp. Higbee's not walking through that field on Sunday. It's just not going to happen. And it reminds me, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, the Rams just kind of gave up on the year. I think we see that incoming. 49ers to win in the cover. Next game, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons plus 3.5. Falcons to cover would be a money pick. Chiefs to win. Listen, I'm higher on the Falcons than most people. Maybe it's me with cognitive bias, and maybe it's me just hoping my Atlanta Falcons future bet cashes, but it's looking a lot better right now. But I think the Falcons can win this game, but there is a piece of advice I would like you guys to give. And listen, every rule gets broken, but this is a rule. I just don't want to bet Chiefs games. Like, I'm not going to get into like the Bengals Chiefs calls. I'm not really going to go there. And I also don't like how people like mix the election with that Chiefs team. Like, I just don't like it. But Chiefs to win, Falcons to cover. I want to bet the Falcons. I want to talk football. I want to talk about the matchups, but it is rather difficult to do when you look at Chiefs games, especially when it's in a high leverage situation. It's at 4:00. NFL wants those eyeballs, baby. Next game, we got the Jacksonville Jags doubleheader Monday night at the Buffalo Bills. Jags plus 5.5. Jags to cover, Bills to win. Man, and I know everyone's going to overreact to the Jags, and because everyone was saying they're betting the Jags, and I just said, like, listen, I'm still going Browns. Not that I'm taking credit for it, but I think this Jags team is better than people think, and I think this is going to move up to +6, +6.5, and we got to give the Bills credit for what they did against Miami going into that stadium, even though they don't put the games at 1:00 anymore. You notice that? They got Josh Allen, a big star. They won't play 1:00 in Miami anymore. We know why. But even with that being said, I think this Bills defense is decimated. And I think this is a time Lawrence needs to take this game by the scruff of his neck, and he needs to exploit a Bills secondary that's already banged up, and I just don't think they're all that good. I don't. I think you can deal with this Bills pass rush. Von Miller isn't what he used to be. If you can block Rousseau, I think you can beat the Bills. I think the Bills win by a field goal. And I also want to say, like, this Jags offensive line, I know they struggle at times, but they're good at pass blocking going back. My issue with them is running the ball, and I feel like a physical team can exploit the Bills' run defense. But the reason why I don't think the Jags will win this game is I don't think they can do that. And also, Etienne has been a little bit of a disaster this year. Next game, other doubleheader on Monday night. We got the Washington no-names at the Cincinnati Bengals, no names, plus 7.5. I got the Bengals to win in the cover. I just don't like laying points with the Bengals, and they are still in preseason mode. But when you have a guy like Joe Burrow, you got a chance to win any game against any opposition with whatever slop you throw out around him. And Jamar Chase is still a baller. I'm just not high on this Commanders team, and I'm high on Jaden Daniels. I'm absolutely bullish. I'm just not high on this Commanders offensive line. I'm not high on this Commanders defense. I don't know if they have any edge rusher worth talking about. And this Commanders secondary is one of the worst I've seen. Honestly, I'm not trying to pick on him, but Emmanuel Forbes is one of the worst first-round draft picks I've ever seen in this league. Bengals winning the cover. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. Get on Instagram. Get on Patreon. Guys, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on YouTube. People are saying they're getting unsubscribed by accident. or YouTube's unsubscribing for them. Like, I don't know what to say about that. I've accepted that I am a renegade. That's why I win you guys money every year. It's just get on other platforms, man, because I don't know how long it's going to be. Like, one thing that broke your boy was when I was a teacher. Every single day after work, I would go home, and while everyone else sits in bed and watches Netflix, which I understand, life is exhausting, traffic is exhausting, I would go do YouTube videos, and we build up a channel to 10, 11K. I think we got to 13K. And then I go to work one day and I just see it deleted with no reason. There was no reason. So I'm telling you guys, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. And I don't know what I said. Like week one, after Wednesday, they should stop showing the videos. Luckily for me, you guys are great. You guys flock to the videos, and it honestly warms my heart. But with what we're doing in the executive club on Patreon, like, man, I'm honestly fine. Like, I love doing the videos. I love communicating with you guys on YouTube. But if that wasn't God's plan for me, then I'm fine. And the executive club on Patreon is helping your boy out. We absolutely smashed those props. We smashed the live bets. You should get on there. If you're serious about doing this, if you don't want to do 10-team parlays and lose your money, get on there. Hit the like button.